running for the auction. We've already got a few bids in. There are 10 awesome, once-in-a-lifetime opportunities that you can bid on tonight. I swear, the auction keeps getting better and better every year. One of the items that's already got $2,500 to its name is called the Blue Jays on the Road, and that is picking any city that the Jays are visiting this season, whether it be San Diego, Atlanta, New York, Tampa Bay, and getting airfare, hotel, and seeing the series in person at the park. So, again, that's just one of the 10 items that you can bid on tonight. And if you don't want to spend that much money, or you want to just, donate a sum, how about $100 for a Jays fan pack? Now, this is only available online at bluejays.com/broadcast auction. You get a Jose Bautista bobblehead, an autographed baseball, and a whole bunch of other really great Blue Jays stuff for any fan that would surely love. Now, we're up here in the 200 level outfield. Usually we're down on the 100 concourse, but we're up here on the 200 level. And during batting practice, I almost got taken out by a ball. So hopefully that won't happen again during the game. So I'm going to be here all night. The ladies are standing by. If you want to call, phone lines are open, or visit us again at the 200 level outfield. Jamie?
Brought to you by Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice. And by the 2013 Honda CR-V, an IIHS top safety pick. Honda is the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Bruce Bochy, the manager of the San Francisco Giants, and he knows wwho to take care of. Pablo Sandoval was the MVP of the World Series last year. Now it's time for the starting lineups, brought to you by Quaker State. Real, durable oil. The Giants scored 6 runs last night on 10 hits, and if you look at their lineup, Pagan, Scudero, and then Pablo Sandoval. Runners in scoring position. He is second in the majors with that .463 average with runners in scoring position. He's at 3 home runs and 24 RBIs. He is truly a tough out with runners on. And then how about Gregor Blanco? He loves hitting here at Rogers Center. He's 9 for 17. A couple of RBIs, and he's scored 2 runs, and they are set to take on a former minor league teammate, Ramon Ortiz, played 2 years in the Giants minor league system.
That's a tough lineup for the Giants, second in the National League in hitting. Ramon Ortiz will take the mound, replacing Brandon Morrow, who was scratched and rescheduled to pitch on Saturday in New York. Made his first start since July of 2011 last Friday in Boston. Did everything really the Blue Jays were hoping for. He gave up 1 run in 5 innings. Walks were a problem. That really cut his night short. He made 2 starts in his career versus the Giants, and he's won both of them.
Last year in AAA with the Yankees, he was 13-6. Pitched at Scranton Wilkes-Barre, their AAA ball club. He pitched for the Fresno Giants in 2009, and he's going to go up against some of his former teammates. First pitch of the game is outside. Angel Pagan has been in a little bit of a tailspin. He's just 10 for his last 53. That's got his average down to 252. Ball on the strike.
I thought Ortiz did a really good job in Boston. That was a big job that the Blue Jays were asking from him to give them some innings. And he did. 5 innings, he just gave up the 1 run. Used his fastball, I thought, very effectively in that game. Had a nice little tail to it and got a lot of ground ball outs.
He left 7 base runners on base during his 5 innings of work. He had base runners on in every inning. Here's the 1-1.
I'll tell you, something that's going to have to be imperative tonight for Ramon Ortiz is he better get the ball down. The wind is blowing out like I haven't seen it for a long time. As soon as they opened up the roof here this afternoon, it just started blowing out. He's got to keep it down to keep it in the park.
1-2. Two balls and 2 strikes to lead off man, Angel Pagan. Pagan is 31 years old. See his numbers over his last 8 games. Now back over the screen. Give you an idea how strong the wind was earlier. This is right after they opened up the roof. Before batting practice, the pitching cage is blown over. And then the screen down at first base gets blown over. And here comes the batting cage. Now, let me tell you something. That's a heavy batting cage, but the wind picked it up and pushed it out toward the mound. There's a fair ball hit down the right side, and that's going to be a ground rule double for Angel Pagan. So Pagan picks up his 7th double of the season. That's how the Giants start their night.
Well, we told you he's going to have to keep the ball down. And if you do that, I think you're going to be fine tonight against this Giants team. If you get the ball up, they've got some good hitters. Again, they're second in the National League in hitting. Look where this pitch is. On the inner half, just rolled over the strike zone right there, and Pagan gets himself an extra base hit.
One bounce into the seats out of play, so Pagan's at second for Marco Scudero. Scudero is red hot. Got a 13-game hit streak. He shows bunt, bunts it up the third baseline. Laurie calls for it, makes a good play. Good job by Brett Laurie. He called off the pitcher to get him out of the way and made the play at first, and he retires Scudero. Take a look at the outfield. Melky Cabrera with his gimpy legs. He's back in left field. Rasmussen Bautista center and right. Brett Laurie and Kawasaki on the left side. Bonifacio and Lind on the right side. And J.P. Arancibia will try to work with Ortiz tonight to shut down the Giants.
Colby Rasmus has had a good first 40 games of the season in center field. He leads all Major League center fielders in defense. 114 total chances. Already this year he's made 1 error. He has covered a lot of ground for the Blue Jays.
Pablo Sandoval goes after the first pitch. We mentioned Sandoval He is second in the majors batting with runners in scoring position. Only Miguel Cabrera of the Tigers has a better batting average with runners in scoring position, and Cabrera is hitting just 500.
That's it? Just 500. He's also homered in 3 straight games.
And he's quickly behind 0-2.
That's where Ramon Ortiz has got to live tonight. You can see from that pitch tracks where that ball is down. Right there, 1-2, down out of the strike zone, and he gets a very aggressive swinger and Sandoval to swing over the top.
The Giants have homered in 6 straight games and 14 of their last 16. Center field, Rasmus backs up. This ball is carrying a long way, and that's going to cash in Pagan from third. Sandoval picks up his 30th RBI with a sac fly to center, and the Giants have a 1-0 lead.
The first time I saw that batting cage moving, I thought someone pushed it, and then we saw this. There are no strings attached to that one. That was so windy.
And those are all your pregame notes flying out of the booth there.
Yeah, all 3 of them, right?
But anytime you see those banners in the center being blown around, it's a good night for hitters.
And we were standing behind the batting cage while the Blue Jays took BP this afternoon. Even the ones they weren't hitting hard were going into the second deck.
Well, Buster Posey gets plunked by that pitch up and in. And he'll go to first base. Ortiz pitched to Buster Posey in 2009 at Fresno. Many of his former AAA teammates are here with the Giants, including Buster Posey.
Well, you don't like to see this up around the head like that. You could see Aaron Sebia trying to help out his counterpart. As a catcher and Buster Posey, that one got away from him.
Posey's the DH tonight. Now with a man at first and 2 outs, Hunter Pence. Way outside. Pence finished up last night's game 2 for 3 with a walk. He also lined out to the third baseman. He swung the bat well all night long. He's average at 288 for the season. This Giants ball club is second in the National League in hitting as a team. They have a 267 average, second only to the Rockies. And Pence has worn out the Blue Jays. Ball gets away from Aaron Sebia and go back to the screen. Posey will go to second.
That will be interesting to see how they score it. I don't think that ball hit the dirt.
No. I agree with you. Watch how this ball is outside there. Sebia is set up outside, but it looked like he moved back to the inside before that ball went outside.
Yeah, he was starting to lean inside on that one and just missed it.
It scored a wild pitch charged to Ortiz. 3-0 count. Aaron Sebia reminding Ortiz that Pence might be swinging. He takes a strike. 3-1. Giants have scored first. Pablo Sandoval with a sac fly picks up his 30th RBI.
They've got an outstanding record when they score first, too. The Giants.
17-5 when they score first. Little tapper out in front of home plate. Ortiz takes his time. The inning is over. But the Giants break out on top. Pagan's leadoff double is cashed in by Pablo Sandoval. We'll go to the bottom of the first. Ryan Vogelsong for the Giants. field. And against the Giants, he's hit .366, 15 for 41 with 5 ribbies, and he scored 7 runs. Bautista and Encarnacion continue to hit top of the order. Down at the bottom, Colby Erasmus. He, too, has good numbers against San Francisco, a .333 average, including 3 homers and 10 RBIs. So Rasmus and Melky Cabrera have hit well against this Giants team, and Ryan Vogelsong, the starters, had a rough start to his season.
Certainly has. He's never faced the Blue Jays in his career, and trying to turn around his season. 1-3 in ERA, almost 8. Feels like he's getting closer, though. Maybe his season high 7 strikeouts in his last start are an indication that he might be right.
Well, the top of the order for the Blue Jays is a tough one right now. Melky Cabrera, Jose Bautista, and Edwin Encarnacion. See what they've done in their last 3 games since they've hit first, second, and third in the order. Melky is 6 for 13, Bautista 6 for 10, and Edwin is 5 for 12, and they've done some major damage. Combined, they've hit .486.
Each one of them very good at bats. You can see they're taking a lot of pitches, and they are seeing the baseball. Melky getting it started last night. He was on base 5 times.
Tied his career high with 4 hits. Bautista on deck. And Encarnacion in the hole. There's a ball ripped to right. Hunter Pence came in, and he's able to make the catch as he was going back. The ball's carrying everywhere so far. Take a look at the Giants defensively. They've committed 23 errors as a team. It's Blanco, Pagan, and Pence in the outfield. Sandoval's at third. He made an error in the first inning last night. Brandon Crawford's got a terrific arm at short. Scudero is back at second. He was the DH last night. Brandon Belt's the first baseman. And former Blue Jay Guillermo Quiros is behind the plate. Vogelsong is set. Here is Bautista. Patch made a great point about the top 3 guys in the order, how much more patient they are.
Yeah, just watch them, how they take pitches, and that's one thing that Jose has talked about.
This is popped up. Scudero into shallow right. Drops the ball. Scudero, that's his 6th error of the season. And that's just a lack of concentration.
Normally a sure-handed player is Marco Scudero at second base. 5 errors. This is going to be number 6. This is an easy play for him. Heads over there and goes up, and he tries to grab it with that one hand, and it just pops out. No excuse for that one, but the Blue Jays will certainly take it.
Boy, and that's what happened to the Giants last night. They committed an error in the first inning. Actually, 2 errors in the first, contributing 6 Blue Jay runs. I mean, this is a pitching staff right now that's struggling, and they need every out they can get.
Those 2 errors last night led to 3 unearned runs. Wouldn't that have been interesting in the 9th inning if they caught the ball early?
Ball on a strike to Edwin Encarnacion. Edwin in last night's game had a couple of hits. In his last 2 games, you see he's 5 for 9 with a homer and 4 ribbies. That home run came on Sunday at Boston.
And home runs have hurt Vogelsong this year. He's going to need to keep it in the ballpark. Doesn't throw that hard. Touches 90 with his fastball. He's got to paint corners and keep it out of the middle. He's given up 9 home runs this year.
Missed down and away. 3-1. Vogelsong last year was 14-9 with a .337, and then in 2011 he had even a better year, 13-7 with a .271 ERA. It's an interesting story. He was a 5th-round draft pick of the Giants way back in '98. Made it to San Francisco in 2000. Then he went from San Francisco to Pittsburgh. Spent 6 years in Pittsburgh, and then went to Japan. Pitched 3 years in Japan before he came back to the Giants. 3-1, Bautista at first. Ball 4. Encarnacion takes a walk, and the Blue Jays continue to show patience at the plate, not trying to force the issue. The Giants now have committed 24 errors this season. That's something that they have been able to avoid the last several seasons. Scudero with his 6th. Arizona, to give you an idea of comparison, they've made 10. And it's tough to put your pitchers in that kind of situation early on.
I don't care how good you are, and the Giants have a great pitching staff. It's tough to give teams extra outs.
JP Arencibia is 0 for his last 12. His average down to 230. The Blue Jays have been red hot. They've scored 25 runs on 38 hits over the last 3 games.
Byproduct of good approaches at the plate. Chad Mottola has told his players he wants them to use the middle of the diamond just a little bit more.
Along with that hot streak, the Jays have been very good in the clutch. And they've hit .500 with runners in scoring position, 13 for 26, with just 2 strikeouts when they've had runners in scoring position. There's a drive into center. Pagan over, and he missed it. Bautista is going around third. Encarnacion is right behind him. 2 runners are going to come in back to back. Again, the Giants' defense in the first has cost him. Pagan picks up his 3rd error of the season, a 2-base error, and the Blue Jays have erased a 1-0 deficit.
2 errors in the first inning last night, and the Blue Jays ended up scoring 6. 2 more here tonight. This ball is hit, and it's going to carry with that wind blowing out, and Pagan just missed it. Whenever an outfielder misses balls, that's multiple bases for the runners. Not just the guy who hit it, but the guys on base. How about Bautista reads it, tries to go back, and then realizes it's down. And how about Louis Rivera waving both of them home? And the error costs him again.
Adam Linden takes a first pitch strike. 2 errors in the first last night, 2 errors in the first tonight. And the Giants waste an early run.
It was Pagan last night who made an error in the first inning. That cost him some bases and a run. Off of a base hit, it couldn't come up with a base hit cleanly.
Base hit to center field. He went to pick it up and dropped the ball. That allowed the second run to score. Sandoval's error on Melky Cabrera's hit started the inning. And that picture tells you all you need to know what Bruce Bochy's thinking. Now Quiros dropped the ball, and the Giants looked totally out of sorts early on. Adam Lind, his average at 274. He's 5 for his last 10, and he's reached base in 16 of his last 18 games. Things are starting to turn around. Swing and a drive. This ball is hit in time. Goodbye, home run.
He should be out of the inning with no runs on the scoreboard, but 4 have been tacked on by the Blue Jays because of the lack of defense by the Giants in the first inning. Adam Lind all over this pitch. Told you that Vogelsong has been giving up the home runs. That one's right down the middle. For us, the over and under tonight in home runs is 5. That's the first one.
Well, the ball was flying during BP, and it continues to carry here in the game.
Yeah, you don't even have to go after that one. Hit so hard, no chance of that one staying in the ballpark.
Brett Laurie fouls it back. It's 0-2. Lind has been swinging the bat well now for a while, and he's had good at-bats. This all started when Lind had that string of walks. He was patient. He took a lot of borderline pitches, saw the ball very well, and then the hits started to follow.
Yeah, what does that tell you when guys start picking up walks?
Seeing the ball.
Seeing the ball. And the next step, you start hitting it. And they, from Bautista to Encarnacion to Lynn, Brett Laurie, Melky Cabrera, throw him in there, Bonifacio.
Yeah, they all got a little more patient. Look at that swing. Laurie stayed back and just protected that strike zone. Adam Lynn got off to a rough start. First 4 games, we went 0 for 13, and since then, a .333 average. Brett Laurie spent a lot of time on the field early this afternoon, hitting off a tee, taking soft toss, taking underhand flips, working hard with Chad Mottola.
Getting those hands started, getting them a little bit closer to your body, and swinging through the baseball.
There's a little flare into right. That's going to drop for a base hit. Laurie comes up with a 2-strike base hit.
I was kidding around with him yesterday about all the line drives that he has been hitting and being robbed, and I said, Brett, it's going to even out for you. He goes, I know eventually. Well, there's one right there.
Yeah, he'll take that one. He's still about -4 for the Boston series.
Yeah.
Still just 1 out. And that was a hard line drive to right. Colby Erasmus, we showed you his numbers against San Francisco, and he has a good cut. Only 3 batters in this Blue Jays lineup who have at bats against Vogelsong. Erasmus is 0 for 2. Guy on deck, Emilio Bonifacio, has the most. He's 3 for 9 against Vogelsong.
In his career, Vogelsong versus Rasmus, he has done his best work when he stays away from Colby. He doesn't want to throw the ball middle in to Rasmus. Those are the pitches that he tattoos. He's had his most success just keeping the ball away from him, and that's the fastball or the breaking ball.
Colby Erasmus has 16 RBIs. He hasn't been as consistent, but he's done some damage. Bonifacio just barely got out of the way of that line foul back to the screen. You can see him getting back to the on-deck circle. Heads up, Boney. There goes Laurie, pitches up and in, and the throw is not in time. Brett Laurie with his first stolen base of the season. He takes the Blue Jays out of a possible ground ball double play situation.
Pretty good pitch to throw with. Fastball up and in, and he bounces it to second base. Brett Laurie aggressively heading into second base and doesn't use the pop-up slide. Aggressively attacks that base.
Now, that's not going to be a stolen base. He was hit by a pitch. Rasmus got hit. His jersey was brushed by that ball. We did not see the umpire's indication, but now it's first and second, still just 1 out. Dave Brigetti, a longtime pitching coach. Let's take a look at this last pitch.
Hit a sleeve?
Yeah, you can see Tom Hallion. He heard it. The home plate umpire, he made the call immediately. And now Vogelsong with a visit from the pitching coach who will work with runners at first and second and 1 out. It's been another long inning. The Blue Jays sent 11 men to the plate last night in the first inning against Barry Zito. Emilio Bonifacio, the second baseman. That was after the first pitch and cuts right through it. Bonifacio is 5 for his last 8, including a 3-hit day back in Boston on Sunday. He hit his first home run of the season at Fenway Park.
He hasn't been swinging at pitches out of the strike zone. That's what he has been doing. He's been making that pitcher get in there, and he hasn't missed it.
There's a broken bat, base hit. Laurie got a good read. He's coming around third. Here's the throw to the plate. It bounces off the mound. Bonifacio drives in the 5th Blue Jays run of the inning.
When you're swinging a hot bat, pick out a strike and just swing. Good things are going to happen. That's what's happening right now for the Blue Jays offense. Even though Bonifacio shatters his bat, hits this ball off the end of the bat, and all that's left is the handle, he's going to get an RBI and a single. It looked like Pagan had a shot at getting Laurie, but watch the throw hit the mound, slow it up, and ricochet it over to the third base side. And the Blue Jays have put 5 up now.
Vogelsong certainly deserves a better fate here in the first inning. Munenori Kawasaki takes a first pitch strike. Kawasaki is the 9th Jay to bat in the first. Vogelsong has thrown 9 first pitch strikes.
Should have been out of the inning.
Look at the line score, 5 runs on 3 hits. Only one of the hits was hit hard, and that was Adam Lynn's home run. Kawasaki hits it into the seats.
Well, and you know he's going to make him throw some pitches here, too. With the errors and the base hits, it's going to be a long first inning for Vogelsong. He's already thrown 30 pitches. Barry Zito was able to rebound last night and give them into the 6th inning, which certainly helped the bullpen.
Brett Laurie getting a strawberry attended to. Kawasaki takes it upstairs. You'll notice on the screen the Jays Care Foundation phone numbers, and you can call and make a bid. They'll be having items all night long you can bid on, and it's a great cause. You can support the Jays Care Foundation with the Sportsnet charity auction. Ivanka Osmak will be with us all night long. 2-2, 1 out in the dirt. Well, the Giants are reeling here in the first after they took a 1-0 lead, and the Blue Jays stormed back. The auction is in the 200 level in the outfield, so if you're at or near the ballpark, come on by and you can go out and make a personal bid. Bid on several of those great auction items and lots of great trips and special opportunities. Full count, 1 out. There go the runners. This is line to a shortstop, and that'll end the inning. Kawasaki lines into an inning-ending double play, but Ryan Vogelsong is hurt by the shaky Giants defense and Adam Lynn. Lynn hits a 2-run home run in a 5-run first inning. The Blue Jays are up 5-1.
auction. Sportsnet Charity Broadcast Auction is happening tonight. Phone lines are open, or you can come visit us, 200 level outfield, if you're coming down to the Rogers Center. Some awesome items, as usual, that you can bid on tonight. 10 that we're going to highlight. What about doing a pitching lesson with Mark Burley or a hitting lesson with Colby Rasmus? Certainly those bats are heating up for the Jays. Or take a road trip with the team to another park. Wouldn't it be cool going to San Francisco? So lots of great things that you can bid on tonight. That's going on all throughout the game until 10 minutes after the last out in the 7th inning. So phone lines are open right now. We are awaiting your call. Buck, back to you.
Thanks, Ivanka, but I'm a little disappointed he didn't mention the great broadcast experience, a chance to sit here with Pat and I and talk about a ball game all night. I mean, who can resist that? It's a chance of a lifetime, folks. So dial up and make sure you make a bid on that. Brandon Belt goes after the pitch and fouls it over toward the seats. Laurie will give it a look, but it's out of play. Brian Vogelsong getting some encouragement from Dave Righetti, the pitching coach. Hey, keep throwing strikes, man. He threw 9 first pitch strikes in that inning and should have been out of the inning. All 5 runs are unearned runs because of the 2 giant errors. There's a base hit to right. Brandon Belt's aboard.
Blue Jays on Sportsnet. Brought to you by the 2013 Honda CRV, an IIHS top safety pick. Honda is the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
The roof at Rogers Center is wide open. A beautiful evening. CN Tower high above. Ramon Ortiz has erased an early deficit. He gave up a solo run in the first inning, and Blue Jays stormed back with 5 of their own. Gregor Blanco. Off-speed pitch. He was way out in front. Blanco's got a mini 3-game hit streak going. He's 4 for his last 9. And we mentioned his numbers at Rogers Center. He's hit well in this ballpark. Gregor Blanco is a guy that took over last year after Cabrera was suspended. He took over in left field and did a good job for them. And he started every game in the postseason. Fly ball left field. Cabrera backing up. He's got plenty of room. He makes the catch. That's the first out of the inning. Well, anytime you see a win streak, you got to look at the starting pitching, and that's what's turned Blue Jays around. You look at the last 4 starts, Pat, and it's been the starting pitching that's allowed the offense to score some runs.
Isn't that the truth? Every single time when you see a little bit of a hot streak by a team, the starters give you innings, they get you deep into the game. Mark Burley was as good as I've ever seen him in person. Chad Jenkins gave them what they needed. I thought R.A. Dickey was very good last night with his knuckleball dancing in the strike zone.
Dickey picked up his 3rd win of the season. Brandon Morrow will pitch in New York on Saturday against the Yankees. Guillermo Quiros, the catcher. The ball in the strike. Quiros spent 7 seasons in the Blue Jays organization. Signed as a non-drafted free agent out of Venezuela. Hits this ball on the ground. It should be 2. Bonifacio Kawasaki double play. Ramon Ortiz turned 2 double plays in Boston. He gets one here to get him out of the 2nd. Good defense up the middle. end the inning.
Ground ball to second baseman, and that's something that they have worked on the last couple of days. In fact, Robbie Alomar came out yesterday to work with the middle infielders just a little bit, especially the second baseman. And what he was telling him, he said, hey, when you get to that double play situation, get a little bit closer to the bag. He didn't feel like the second baseman were throwing across their body. Clear that second base bag, and when you split the ball, get it up high to them where they can turn that double play, make the feed to them a little bit easier for them.
And who better to teach than Robbie Alomar, the Hall of Famer? Melky Cabrera batting for a second time already tonight.
I think the biggest thing that Robbie told him, and probably the most important thing, is you got to get to the bag a little bit sooner. And the Blue Jays haven't turned big double plays at big times, and a lot of times because that infielder hadn't gotten to the bag. So he said if you've got to cheat to the bag to get there, just get there in time so you're under control when you catch the ball.
Once you get to the bag, you have the ability to take a throw that might be offline. Melky Cabrera hits another bullet. This time Pence can't make the play. Cabrera touches first. He's headed for second. Melky Cabrera with his first hit, and you can see he is gimpy on those sore hamstrings. Nothing wrong with his bat.
Boy, he is hitting line drives. He is just filling up Rogers Center with line drives. He took the MRI today, and they found some irritation in his right quad along with his left hamstring irritation, and they said he can't hurt it anymore. He's going to get treatment. And that is an absolute key to right field. It really handcuffed Hunter Pence. You can see how gingerly he is running on those legs. He's in pain. He's sore, but he can play through it.
Take a team of horses to get him out of the lineup right now.
That's the way he's swinging the bat.
Jose Bautista. Bautista hit the pop-up that Scudero dropped in shallow right field, and that opened up the floodgates. That came with one out in the first. Bautista looks like he is loading up. He saw that last ball very well.
He says he's been doing a good job of laying off the border pitches, especially away. Look at pitch tracks right there, just off the plate, and Jose was able to just stay off of them. Anything inside, and he's going to hit a missile somewhere, I think.
2-0. Breaking ball for a strike. A high strike. Bautista is asking Tom Hallion, is that as high as it goes? Oh, just on the outside corner. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Bautista, reaching on that air, has now reached in 20 of his last 21 games. Off the end of the bat, Vogelsong took something off that pitch.
Looked like it might have been the curveball that he tried to get Jose out in front on. Pitchers had mild success against Bautista when they tried to go curveball late in the count to mess up his timing with that leg kick. But if you miss and he times it right, he's been hitting it hard.
Past Scudero into right center. Cabrera is being waved around home, and they throw it to second, and there's not going to be a play. The Giants continue to kick it all over this field. Melky Cabrera scores from second. Bautista, another hard hit ball. It's a base hit into center.
It's always interesting to watch teams who have not played on AstroTurf come into this ballpark for the first time and try and deal with the turf here. This ball hit hard and really no chance for Scudero to come up with them. Pagan again, watch him throw the ball, then he throws it away. Crawford can't come up with it. It's bouncing all over the place.
Ron Rodas, the bench coach for the Giants, mentioned that fact that the younger players haven't played on artificial surface. There aren't any in the National League. There's only 2 in baseball now. This one in Tropicana Field. So the National Leaguers, they don't have a chance to play. And Rhoda says, you know what? It's not an excuse. It's a fact.
It's a fact. And the ball spins when it comes off of the turf. If you're not used to it, you got to deal with the seams on the field. If you're not used to it, it can make your team look bad defensively. And this is a pretty decent team defensively.
Reigning world champs. Won 2 of the last 3 World Series. Edwin Encarnacion walked in the first. Ball on his strike. That shatters his bat, and he'll have to get some new lumber. Giants came into this series red hot. They had won 7 of their 10 games on the homestand. And that homestand against the Dodgers, the Phillies, and the Braves, they had a good homestand against some tough ball clubs. And from here, they go to Colorado. And let me tell you something. You play a couple games like this, it has a tendency to give you a little bit of a hangover. Colorado 21-18. They are 2 games back of the Giants.
They can hit.
Matt Cain open up for the Giants in Colorado. Here's a high drive to center field. Pagan, he's got room. Bautista's halfway. Encarnacion is retired. Fans, it's time for a BlackBerry Sneak Peek Stat of the Game, brought to you by the new BlackBerry Z10 and Q10, built to keep you moving.
Well, it just hasn't been a real good start this year for Ryan Vogelsong. These are the batting averages against the certain pitch types. Against the curveball, hitters are hitting .421, the fastball .319. The cutter, I think, is the pitch of choice for Ryan Vogelsong. They're hitting only just .219 against it. He'll also throw a changeup in there. He hasn't had a whole lot of success with that either.
J.P. Arencibia reached on the air by Angel Pagan in center field his first time up. He came around and scored the 3rd Blue Jays run. He gets jammed to that inside pitch. He's going to walk off the effects of that. Hit right on the top of his right toe. Ramon Ortiz has been given some run support here tonight. Arencibia high and deep to left. This one is way back. Home run, Arencibia.
I don't think he needed any help from the wind on that one. JP, last home run down in Tampa, he homered off of Rodney, which turned out to be a game winner. And this one way back in left field. Looked like they wanted to go back in, and he misses again, down and in. And that's the sweet spot for JP Arencibia. Full extension. Home run number 10.
The 11th home run allowed by Ryan Vogelsong. Lind homered in his first at bat. Arencibia has now tied Robinson Cano. They're tied with 10 behind Chris Davis, Mark Reynolds, and Edwin Encarnacion. Those 3 have 11. Blue Jays had 18 hits last night, but didn't hit a home run.
Well, that's 2 tonight.
You just had a sense it was going to be a night like this for somebody. The way the ball was flying out of this ballpark.
Good night to get your sinker ball out and start using it.
There's a fly ball off the end of the bat. Gregor Blanco has plenty of room, and Lynn's retired. 2 down. Yeah, the last thing you want to do as a hitter on a night like this is hit ground balls.
Yeah. got to figure out a way to get the ball airborne.
Right-hander Chad Godin is loosening up for the Giants. Brett Laurie had a heck of a bat his first time up. He had a 2-out base hit to right and really cut his swing down once he got to 2 strikes.
That was a very good approach. Looked like he was trying to shoot the ball that way.
There's that curveball that Laurie laid off of. Another good example of why the Blue Jays are hitting so well. Not chasing borderline pitches.
You know, and it's not just 1 or 2 guys. It's everybody up and down the lineup.
And Laurie takes a 4-pitch walk. Bautista's been on base, and he scored 2 runs tonight. He's driven in a run. Here's Bochy. Looks like he asked Righetti, is Godin ready? And here he comes out of the dugout. This is a tough move for a manager. I know his pitcher is down 8-1, but at the same time, the defense really hurt him in the first inning. And he hasn't made the call yet. Let's see what this conversation is going to be about. Bochy's a former catcher, so he has been out there in these situations. And that's the message. Hey, let's see if you can't get sorted out here. It's been a rough start for Vogelsong this season. So Bochy, instead of the pitching coach, goes out and delivers the message to his pitchers.
I think that's the right one also. They've been strapped a little bit. The Giants a little bit short. You don't want to burn that starter in the 2nd inning. He's thrown 57 pitches, not that big a deal, but his defense is hurting.
Yep, 2 errors again tonight, and they've got a big 4-game series coming up with Colorado. And then guess who's coming into town? The Washington Nationals. So they got a tough schedule. And then they will welcome in Colorado as well. So they'll play Colorado 7 games out of the next 10.
Bochy's talked about that too, that, you know, if you start burning out your bullpen, it could take you 2 or 3 weeks to get it all sorted out again. So you got to ride that starter tonight.
Colby Erasmus takes one on the corner. It's 0-2. Well, as good as the Giants pitching staff has been over the years, they don't have any depth. They don't have the depth down in the minor leagues to reach down there and pull somebody up. Just a reminder, you see San Francisco current trip bid is $2,600. You can bid on a trip to San Francisco, see the Blue Jays take on the San Francisco Giants June 4th and 5th. 2-game series at beautiful AT&T Park, and you can call up and make a bid on that. Rasmus pulls it foul.
I've never been there, but I hear it's gorgeous.
You've never been there?
Nope.
Oh, it's spectacular.
We are going this year, so I can't wait to see it.
There are the phone numbers right there. You can support Jays Care Foundation. You can call 1-877-440-5297 or 416-341-1495. 1-2, 2 outs. AT&T Park is truly one of the best baseball parks in the country in my mind. It's a big, spacious ballpark. There's a lot of places for the pitchers to pitch, and there you see that San Francisco trip. Airfare for 2 tickets to Blue Jays and Giants 2 nights, and a room at the beautiful Nico Hotel. You can't beat it.
Can you hit one in the McCovey Cove?
Me?
Yeah.
No. It's in right field. I never hit anything to right field.
No, I meant teeing one up at home plate.
Full count, 2 outs. Brett Laurie at first base. He'll be off on the pitch. Quiros wants to go through the signs again. There goes Laurie. Strike 3 call. Tom Mahalian rings up Colby Erasmus. That's the first strikeout of the night. But the Blue Jays score 3 more in the second. J.P. Arancibia His 10th home run of the season gives him 20 RBIs. It's 8-1 Jays.
Experience meet and greet in the booth with Buck Martinez and Pat Tabler. 2 tickets. And you know what is pretty cool about this one, though, guys, is that Jerry Howarth will record your voicemail for you. I don't know if you can get him to say whatever you want, but that is pretty cool. But I think getting the chance to meet Buck and Pat, maybe the best thing that you can bid on tonight. Am I right, guys?
You are absolutely right, and I can't wait for Jerry to do my voicemail.
I don't want Jerry doing my voicemail. I don't want him near this booth.
Hello, friends.
I'm just kidding, Jerry.
$2,100. Come on, boost it up. You come up here and sit with us and watch the ball game and go down to the truck and see all the great work of our producer, Doug Walton, and our director, Troy Clara. We have maybe one of the best tape rooms in all of baseball. You get a chance to go down there and see how they put it all together. And if you thought it was us that do all the hard work, you're mistaken. It's the people down in the truck. So it's a great experience, opportunity to see behind the scenes as well as in the broadcast booth.
That might be the coolest thing.
Yeah.
To go into the truck to see how they cut this game and how it works. Whenever I bring friends in and let them sit in there for an inning, they are amazed the job that those guys do down there.
Brandon Crawford, the shortstop, with 2 balls and 1 strike. Ramon Ortiz has an 8-1 lead. He's got to throw strikes. There are the numbers to call the Blue Jays Sportsnet broadcast auction right on your screen. This is popped up on the infield. Kawasaki calls for it. The shortstop keeps battling that win. There's 1 out. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Phil Hughes goes 2/3 of an inning, gives up 6 hits and 7 earned runs. Vernon Wells hit a home run in the bottom of the first, but it's 7-1 Seattle.
That's it. Wear out that bullpen before the Jays roll into Yankee Stadium over the weekend.
Top of the order, Angel Pagan doubled and scored way back in the first. But then it was his error that allowed J.P. Aronsebi to reach and contributed to that 5-run inning for the Blue Jays. Ryan Vogelsong was charged with 5 runs in the first. They were all unearned runs. He's given up 2 home runs tonight. There's a little flare into left. That's going to drop in front of Melky Cabrera. And Melky slipped, and it's over his head. And Pagan will have his second double. It looked like Cabrera may have rolled his ankle a little bit because he went to stop, and his ankle kind of gave way, and then that ball bounced over his head. So that's another double for Pagan.
Well, there's no secret that he is not running that well. The ball hung up there a little bit for him. There's the roll of the ankle like you were talking about when he tried to plant that foot and turn and go back right there. if his legs were fine, I think he makes that catch. He runs well enough. I have seen him run well enough to make that play, but it's going to be a double for Pagan.
Yeah, it's been a struggle for Cabrera most of the season. He's been playing on those sore hamstrings for quite a while. One out, Marco Scudero.
It was right at the end of spring training where his legs started hurting him. And he hasn't been the same.
Spring training was awfully long this spring because of the World Baseball Classic. Cabrera did not play or participate in the World Baseball Classic. He stayed with the Blue Jays in Dunedin throughout spring training. 0-2.
Tough to put this guy away right here, Marco Scudero. One of the toughest batters to strike out in baseball. Just one strikeout for every 14 at-bats.
He's also hitting .337 against right-handed pitching. It speaks volumes about his determination. He's not going to give in to those tough breaking balls down and away.
You've got to make pitches against him to get him out. And he's in a nice little hot streak right now, too.
Not only does he have that 13-game hit streak, but he has 7 straight multi-hit games. Think about that. I mean, that's when you're feeling pretty good at the plate, knowing every night you're going to get a couple hits.
Last 15 games, he's raised his batting average 98 points with this hot streak.
Kawasaki gets a nice hop, takes his time, and Scudero is out. Fans, if you want your baseball questions answered by our team of experts, email asktheexperts@sportsnet.ca. And keep your eye out for the home hardware Ask the Expert segment later on in the game. Two outs. Pablo Sandoval. Of course, in San Francisco, he is Kung Fu Panda. Well, he had some postseason. He was the MVP in the World Series. He had 24 hits in the postseason, which is a giant record for a single postseason. He's a 2-time All-Star. And there's a panda. You see a lot of those at AT&T Park. You'll see those when we're out in San Francisco. He can hit.
Oh, from both sides of the plate he can hit. He might not look like it. He's the smaller version of Prince Fielder for me. Fielder has a little bit more power.
He's just 26 years old. And he certainly can hit in the clutch. We talked about his batting average with runners in scoring position, and hit an opposite field home run here last time, the 9th inning. A 3-run shot to left center. And he covers both sides of the plate very well. 2-1, 2 outs on the ground. Bonifacio takes his time, and the inning is over. Sandoval is out on the 4-3 ground out. The double created no problems for Ramon Ortiz.
crew for a day. No one has bid on that item yet. So let me just explain what it is, and let's see if you're up for the challenge. You get to be a part of the grounds crew, who just so happens to be the fastest grounds crew. Can you handle them? Yeah, if that's for you, then you got to check this out. Starting bid at $1,000. You also get to keep as a souvenir one of the bases that you put in. So I think that's a pretty good deal. So call in right now. Numbers on your screen. Back to you, Buck.
Thank you, Vanka. And I've just got to remind everybody that once Dan Plesac came out as the grounds crew, he came out of my bullpen and was out there sweeping around in the field as one of the groundskeepers. So it's a great experience. Plesac wanted to do it. Chad Godin comes out of the bullpen to pitch the third inning. This will be his 13th appearance of the season.
He's the long man for Bruce Bochy's bullpen. Chad Godin, the 12 games, 0-1, 127 earned run average. He's thrown 21 in the third innings. That's the most of any Giants reliever because he is the long man out of the bullpen. Sinking fastball, he'll cut it. He gets lots of movement on his pitches, and this might be the guy that they need tonight. Keep the ball on the ground.
Yeah, and they need some innings out of Godin. This is his 8th organization. 2013, his 11th big league season. He's 30 years old. So Emilio Bonifacio is taking advantage of some playing time lately. He had a RBI single his first time up. Goes after the first pitch and laces it to left, but Gregor Blanco is there. One pitch, one out for Godin. Brian Vogelsong, the starter in this game, deserved a better fate. He was charged with 5 runs in the first, all unearned. Overall, 2 innings, 6 hits. 8 runs, just 3 earned runs. He walked a couple and gave up 2 home runs. The Blue Jays were 6 for 13 against Vogelsong in his 2 innings of work. Tough start for the Giants and Bruce Bochy. Munenori Kawasaki lined into an inning-ending double play. He was the 9th man to bat in the first. See, the Giants are pretty aware of what Kawasaki's game plan is. They have really played him around to left. Gregor Blanco is playing him like a right-handed pull hitter.
And shallow in left field, you can see Blanco in left field, also the shortstop and the third baseman right next to each other on the left side.
Kawasaki had a big hit on Sunday at Fenway Park. A 2-run single to right against Ryan Dempster, and that started the Blue Jays scoring in that 12-4 win. Melky Cabrera has had 2 good at-bats already tonight. He lined out and doubled over the right fielder's head. 3-1, 1 out. There's strike 2. Kawasaki is a very dedicated baseball player. He goes through a lot of pre-game drills even before batting practice starts. Does a lot of physical exercises and does a lot of baseball fundamentals every single day. Melky Cabrera had to back out of the way of that one.
You might not recognize some of the drills that he will do as he gets ready for a ball game. I guess this is stretching out his back and his sides. This is chair stretching, brought to you by Munenori Kawasaki. And how about that? Little scissor cut there, standing on your hands.
I used to do that before every game. Got me loose and ready for the ball game.
I wonder if that's in Brian King, the exercise stretching.
I tell you what, he's got that hard plastic roller that he rolls on and get himself loose before the game. How about that at bat? Another good at bat for Kawasaki. He works Godin for the walk. That's huge because you turn the lineup over and get to that red hot top 3 in the batting order.
With a guy on base. Melky Cabrera's average is up to 280 now.
Well, Melky got off to a slow start. No question about that. He had a rough month of April. Bautista on deck. He's already picked up a hit. He's scored 2 runs tonight and driven in 1. And there's the third guy, Edwin Encarnacion. He has walked and scored. One out. Lately, everything Cabrera swings at's been a line drive. And it's not really a surprise. He's a career .284 hitter. Hit 200 hits with Kansas City in 2011. He had .339 for the Royals. And then last year, he had 52 multi-hit games for the Giants. Speaking of the Giants, don't forget about that San Francisco trip, part of the Jays Care Foundation broadcast auction.
They will just not swing at a ball that's just off the plate.
And in April, he was swinging at everything.
Everything. Teams have tried breaking balls down and away, swinging at it. Fastballs up, he just couldn't lay off of it.
Just a totally different approach. Chad Mottola told us early in the spring that Melky Cabrera had a practice routine that Mottola was envious of. But I wish I could have everybody do it, because Melky Cabrera does it 15 minutes from both sides of the plate every day.
Every day. 2 flips in the cage or hitting off the tee. And right now it's working out nicely for him.
The Blue Jays have scored 8 runs on 6 hits. They've already drawn 4 walks tonight. They've taken advantage of 2 giant errors. Giant in both uses of the word. Huge in the impact of this game.
And you're just asking for trouble when you walk guys in front of Bautista and Encarnacion. This is what they're getting paid for right here, to drive in runs.
Breaking ball for a strike. Encarnacion now on deck. We mentioned Godin pitching for his 8th organization. He was drafted originally by Tampa Bay in 2001. Came to the Blue Jays in a trade in December of 2004 for Kevin Cash, the catcher. He's also pitched in Oakland, Chicago with the Cubs, with the Yankees in San Diego. Two and one. Blue Jays have had a lot of hitter counts tonight. They've been very patient. Bullet down the left field, and that's a fair ball. Kawasaki is around third. He'll score. Cabrera beats the throw to third. Bautista ends up at second. 9-1 Blue Jays.
Stuff middle in, pitches middle in to Bautista. He's raking it. Ball from Godin and the inside part of the plate. He loads up. Watch him load up on that back foot. Get that timing mechanism with that leg. And one hops the wall 328 feet.
Saw Sandoval pointing to Blanco to throw the ball to second, hopefully of keeping the double play in order, but the throw came to third and Bautista went into second. Bautista's double is his 8th double of the season. Edwin Encarnacion. He's hit 9 home runs in his last 21 games. He is tied with Mark Reynolds and Chris Davis for the American League lead.
Time for some ribbies out there for Encarnacion. The infield is playing halfway. You can see the middle of the diamond halfway, so anything hit hard, they're going to come home. Runners have to recognize that, and they'll probably make the ball go through.
Well, too, they're very aware of Cabrera's leg situation. He's not running well, so they can take time. And now Dave Righetti will come back out to the mound. Bautista reminding the third base coach and the base runner to check the outfielders and then check where the infielders are. Make sure you see how deep they are.
Yeah, the infielders for sure. He was pointing to the shortstop and second base saying, hey, they're halfway, so you don't have to go. Runners at second base will get a sign from the third base coach indicating what they're going to do, if they're going to run that contact play or if they're going to make the ball go through.
Yeah, you got to know what that guy at third's going to do.
Jose has to know, and he is just reminding those guys over third base, hey, the infield's in, you don't have to go.
Especially where you are in the batting order. Number 3 hitter, Encarnacion. Fouls it into the seats.
And he's enjoying that right there. Just keeps going, boys.
There's a fly ball to center. Tagging at third is Cabrera. Pagan's throw will go to third. Melky Cabrera jogs home, and Encarnacion picks up another RBI. The Blue Jays have taken a 10-1 lead. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. David Price has been battling allergies, and he just revealed that it's been a season-long condition, and maybe that has led to his problems because he has not been David Price that we have seen over the last couple of years. J.P. Arancibia homered his last time up.
Yeah, his fastball hasn't been there all year long.
Yeah, and he talked about just being open about the allergies. He's been dealing with allergies, some sort of skin allergies that caused a rash and really created problems, even caused blurred vision. And he has not been right all season long. Boy, the pitchers are going down like crazy, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Wei-Yin Chen and Miguel Gonzalez of the Orioles both on the disabled list. Of course, the Blue Jays, they have their own problems. The Blue Jays have had back-to-back bat-around innings in consecutive games, and you have to go all the way back to April 10th and 11th of 1994 when they had back-to-back bat-around innings to start a game. And Sebia pops it up over near the Giants' dugout, and that'll be back out of play. But in April of 94, on April 10th and 11th, they had bat-around innings against Seattle and Oakland, and they have done it here against the Giants in back-to-back games.
That was still the Devon White, Robbie Alomar, Joe Carter, John Olerud bunch.
Arancibia with a 2-2 count. Bautista at second. Arancibia hits the grounder. Scudero waits on it and throws him out. The inning is over. But the Blue Jays add 2 more. They've scored 10 runs in the first 3 innings and have a 10-1 lead over the Giants.
items like having a one-on-one pitching lesson with Mark Burley or hitting lesson with Colby Rasmus. You can't get that anywhere. Currently practicing with Rasmus is going for $2,600, only a steal. No one has even bid on Burley. Yeah, this is a guy who has had a perfect game a few years ago. So come on, guys, call in. Phone lines are open now until 10 minutes after the last out in the 7th inning. Buck?
Thank you, Ivanka. You're doing a great job down there, and there's a lot of prizes up there that have yet to take an opening bid. Certainly an opportunity to talk with Mark Burley and get some pitching lessons, and Mark Burley's a pretty special guy. He has thrown a no-hitter and a perfect game, and there are only 6 pitchers in history to have thrown at least 2 no-hitters, one of which is a perfect game. So Burley joins the likes of Randy Johnson, Sandy Koufax, Jim Bunning, Addie Joss, and Cy Young. Buster Posey grounds out, but an opportunity to take a pitching lesson for 2 with Mark Burley. You get to visit during batting practice, Blue Jays replica jersey, 4 TD Comfort Zone seats, and the starting bid is $2,000. But you can meet a guy that has done something that's only happened 6 times in baseball. Burley threw that perfect game for the White Sox.
And you will come away impressed talking to him.
Oh, yeah.
He's got some great stories. He's a good guy. He's got a tremendous personality.
Great sense of humor, and certainly self-deprecating humor.
Yeah.
And he's a terrific guy. He's got 4 Gold Gloves, and very interesting fellow to talk to. So make sure you call in and make a bid on that Mark Burley experience. At one point in his career, he retired 45 straight after perfect game. Hunter Pence hits it off the end of the bat. That ball is carrying a long way. Takes Rasmus back to the warning track, right up against the fence in center. But it's an out. Ramon Ortiz is enjoying his offensive support. And look at those eyes. Stay in the ballpark, baby.
He got fired up when they ended the 2nd inning by turning that double play. 2nd inning. Hey, he's just happy he's pitching in the big leagues.
He will turn 40 years old on May 23rd. Last year in AAA with the Giants AAA team, he went 13-6. This year he was 2-0 in Buffalo. This is his 3rd game with the Blue Jays, 2nd start. He's a smart enough guy. He knows that there are a lot of teams that need pitching.
Yeah. Just stick around and do something, and someone will want you to get out there and help them. Guys have been coming up to him saying, like, well, you have the same name as that Ramon Ortiz who used to pitch for the Angels. And he's saying, it's me. He's been out of the big leagues for the last couple of years.
This has popped up. Aaron Sebia back near the screen, and it is out of play. Now, Ortiz last pitched in the big leagues with the Cubs in 2011. He comes out of the Dominican Republic. His father was a very positive influence on him, and his father passed away in 2003. But while he was alive, he got to see him pitch in the World Series with the Angels, 2002. 2-2. Another foul back. His father gave him some great advice that served him well throughout his career. He said, pitch inside, aim for their elbows. Boy, that's good advice, isn't it?
I know one guy who would love to hear that. He's not here right now. We'll see him in New York. Jack Morris. He's been talking about that for 6 weeks, hasn't he?
Yes, he has. There's a ball bounced over the mound. Kawasaki quickly first retires Brandon Belt. 3 up, 3 down in the 4th. When we come back, it'll be Adam Lind, who's homered here tonight, his 3rd of the season. Brett Lawrie's been on base twice, and Colby Rasmus. Blue Jays up 10-1.
$100. You can get all these things listed, including the Jose Bautista bobblehead, a Blue Jays keychain, among other things. There's only 750 available. They're only $100, and it goes towards Jays Care. And so we have about, under 400 left. So go online, bluejays.com/broadcast auction. They're running out. Buck?
Thank you, Ivanka. There are operators standing by, and you can call and make a bid on those broadcast items. And once those Blue Jays bags are gone, they're gone. So make sure you call quickly and put in a bid. Now you see all the phone lines, and there are a lot of opportunities to call and make bids. And make sure you make a bid on that broadcast experience. Not only do you get a chance to come up in the booth with us here at the stadium, but you can go into the truck and watch how they make this magic happen. And it's awfully interesting and an opportunity that you don't get very often. So it's Lynn, Laurie, and Rasmus here in the fourth. Blue Jays have scored in every inning. And Lynn has another base hit. Boy, he is swinging a hot bat. He is 2 for 3 already tonight.
John Gibbons was asked before the game about Adam Lind DHing. If Melky Cabrera's legs are hurting him and Cabrera DHs, how do you keep both guys in the lineup at the same time? And he said, maybe some left field, maybe some first base and Encarnacion moves, but he says we need both of these guys in the lineup.
Wasn't it interesting? Early in April, couldn't find anybody that could get a hit. Now you got too many guys that are hot.
I don't think it's a case where too many guys are hot. This has been overdue, I think, for the Blue Jays.
Long time coming. But you're right, they're hitting more like we expected. But Laurie's been on base. He singled with 2 strikes in the first and then walked in the second. Laurie reaches out and pokes this one into the seats. The Blue Jays have a 10-1 lead. This game is a long way from being over. We saw the Giants score 4 runs in the 8th and 9th last night. But if they can hang on and win this series, it'll be the first time they've won back-to-back series since last May 16th through the 20th. They won 2 of 3 against the Red Sox, and they would win 2 of this series against the Giants, just a 2-game series. Last year in May, they beat the Yankees in a 2-game series, 2-0, and then took 2 out of 3 against Minnesota. That's how you get back in the pennant race. Win series.
Win series. Start thinking about winning series. And if you really want to get greedy, sweep a couple series. Throw a couple of those in there.
Godin hits ref Laurie.
I don't think he was happy that Laurie stepped down on him when he was getting ready. He called time previous pitch. Something wasn't right, and then the next pitch hits him right in the ribs.
Yeah, that looked a little fishy. Mm-hmm. So Rasmus now will step in with nobody out and 2 men on. Ramon Ortiz hit Buster Posey in the first inning. Rasmus trying to support his teammate with a big home run cut. Rasmus is the 9th man to face Chad Godin since he entered this ballgame. He started the second inning and gave up 2 runs on 1 hit. He walked 2 in the inning, and they both scored. Nobody out. Another reminder, there are the phone numbers for your bids to support the Jays Care Foundation. You can call to make a bid. Plenty of time. Remember, the bidding stops 10 minutes after the final out of the 7th inning, so it's important to make a call now. We're already in the 4th.
Been a nice long game for the fans to get on the telephone and make a donation.
2 balls and 2 strikes. There's a drive to center field. Pagan is back. He is breaking it down before the warning track, and Lynn stays at second, Laurie at first. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Yeah, we talked about it, Jamie, how this AL East is going to be a meat grinder all year long. Everybody has to deal with injuries. And, of course, the Yankees got Curtis Granderson back last night. There's hope they'll get Teixeira back before too long. But at that time, too, they just sent Jabba Chamberlain out on a rehab assignment to start his way back to the big leagues. And everybody's dinged up.
Nobody is going to run away with it.
No.
There's no way. I think all the teams are evenly matched. Did you see who started a game for the Baltimore Orioles today? Talking about teams getting banged up.
Yeah, name out of the past, Freddie Garcia. So everybody is hurting as far as starting pitching goes. Emilio Bonifacio. He is 1 for 2 so far.
This has happened a few times already tonight between the pitcher and the catcher for the Giants. I don't know if he is going through his signs too quickly or they just can't see the sign, but Ryan Vogelsong stepped off 3 or 4 times. And now Godin has had to step off and bring his catcher out there to talk to him.
Guillermo Queiroz making just his 5th start of the season. Backup catcher Robusto Posey doesn't play much. I don't care who it is. But both pitchers have had some problems with it. So they'll go with no sign. There's a strike. It's 1-1. Yeah, when you back up Buster Posey, it's like backing up Johnny Bench.
Yeah.
Play once every 2 weeks, whether you need it or not.
Now you might play a day game after a night game.
Bouncing ball. Scudero to Crawford, back to first, not in time. Bonifacio is tough to double up.
Save during the Lawn and Garden Expert Sale, only at Home Hardware and Home Hardware Building Center. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
Two outs, runners at the corners for the shortstop Munenori Kawasaki. Goes after the first pitch and drives it to left. Gregor Blanco hustles back and makes the catch. Blue Jays strand a pair. They have a 10-1 lead. Now it's time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn in the Blackberry Broadcast Studio.
Academy. This is an opportunity for 4 people to go out with bench coach DeMarlo Hale. He'll take you through some drills. You'll then get a Jays jersey, pants, cap, the whole deal. Plus, take in some batting practice and then watch the game with 3 of your friends for this one. Now, currently, there are no bids. So what I'm saying is, place your call now, get on the board, and it could be yours. Lots of great items. All you have to do is call the number on your screen because, of course, lovely ladies and operators are standing by. 10 minutes after the last out in the 7th, the auction will be over, so get your call in now. Buck?
Thank you, Banca. And there's a swing and a high fly ball off the bat of Gregor Blanco. Rasmus makes the catch, 1 down. DeMarlo Hale is the bench coach for the Blue Jays, and he's been around the big leagues a long time. And he was the first base coach for the Texas Rangers with Buck Showalter, then the bench coach for Terry Francona with the Boston Red Sox. He was with Buck Showalter again in Baltimore with the Orioles, and now he and John Gibbons are working together. His first season as the bench coach, so it's a great opportunity to learn an awful lot from a very bright baseball man, DeMarlo Hale.
He and Gibby go way back also.
Yeah, they sure do. They work together in the Hawaiian Winter League. Now, that's tough duty.
In the wintertime.
Yeah,
right?
you go to Honolulu and work in baseball. That's pretty good. Guillermo Quiros hits one just outside of third. But there are plenty of great items on the board, and make sure you give a call and make a bid on some of those great Blue Jays experiences. Road trip to San Francisco. Batting lessons with Colby Rasmus. Pitching lessons with Mark Burley for 2.
Yeah, call your friends and combine funds. And that last one with DeMarlo, you get 3 of your buddies get to come to the game and enjoy the game.
Bring your kids along. It's certainly an experience. Burley's in his 12th big league season. This ball is driven a mile toward right center. Quiros has hit it off the base of the wall in right. He better hurry. They got to throw on line. Just a little bit late. Bautista threw a strike to second. Quiros has his 3rd double of the season.
Well, you couldn't throw it any more accurate than Jose Bautista did there. Ball's hit hard by Quiros. Down and away, he goes right with it. Jose does a good job getting back, playing it off the wall. Bare hand fire on 1 hop. Look at how accurate this is.
Right on the money.
Right on the bag. Plant that right foot and come up firing.
Well, Bonifacio did a good job. He knew the throw was on line, so he let it go all the way through to second. Shortstop Brandon Crawford. He popped up to the shortstop his first time up. Crawford had a rough night last night. He had a 4 strikeout night. First time in his career he had 4 strikeouts in a game. He's been a hot hitter. He's 10 for his last 26 coming into this game tonight.
Look at the production. 5 home runs, 17 RBIs. 8 doubles.
Crawford's a young guy just getting his feet on the ground. He made the jump from A ball to the big leagues in 2011. Got a grand slam in his first big league game against Milwaukee.
You don't see that often, do you? Guys from A ball coming to the big leagues.
Now, they had a need, and he was there rehabbing, trying to get over a broken wrist, and they called down there and brought him to the big leagues. Last year was his first full season in the big leagues. He started 122 games at short. This is a pop fly into center. Rasmus comes in a few steps, and Crawford's retired. Moen Ortiz is doing a pretty good job throwing strikes. He got staked to an early lead. He gave up a run in the first, but the Blue Jays stormed back with 5 in the bottom of the first, and they have kept adding on.
Doing everything right, too. Did you watch him bust off that mound on that medium fly ball to center field and back up third base just in case there was a tag in a play?
Angel Pagan has a pair of doubles. He scored in the first after starting the game with the double. His second double came in the third. It was a pop-up that fell in front of Melky Cabrera and bounced over the left fielder's head. Giants have just 4 hits. Just a reminder, make sure you check out the broadcast auction that's ongoing. It'll end at the end of the 7th inning. The bids will stop at 10 minutes after the final out of the 7th inning. Ivanka Osmak is doing a terrific job up there hosting the auction. And there are all the phones you can call in and make bids. There's a base hit to right. One hop right to Bautista. They'll stop Quiros at third. Pagan is 3 for 3. Current road trip bid is at $7,000. You can pick your city wherever you want to go. And if you pick San Francisco, you can see Angel Pagan playing at his home ballpark, AT&T Ballpark, and that's a beautiful ballpark. You look out over McCovey Cove, and from the right field upper deck, you can see the Bay Bridge and Oakland Hills in the background. Gorgeous sight.
I'm looking forward to it. And hopefully we'll see some Blue Jay fans out there.
Marco Scudero takes a first pitch strike. Scudero is 0 for 1 with a sac bunt. There's a deep fly ball to left. Melky Cabrera hustling back, makes the catch. And the inning is over. Ramon Ortiz has a 10-1 lead. He's the pitcher of record now. He's completed 5. The red hot top of the order when we come back.
I'll be the star.
Great venue tonight, and a lot of offense here. And while over in the Jays Care Community Clubhouse, it's the Boys and Girls Club of Nanaimo. Welcome to the ballpark, and you've certainly been treated to some great offense by the Blue Jays. Getting a couple of home runs, J.P. Arancibia and Adam Lynn, both with 2-run homers tonight. Enjoy the ball game and have a good time there in that Jays Care Community Clubhouse. Good crowd on hand last night. Blue Jays had 31,753. Big crowd. Blue Jays are 6th in the American League in home attendance.
Yeah, how about that? Good job by the Jays fans. You know, it's not just here. We have seen Jays fans all over the place this year.
Traveling well. And now they got their sights set on 500. Got to get to 500, and they got a ways to go yet. Melky Cabrera swinging a red-hot bat. In case you didn't hear, Melky Cabrera was given his World Series ring by Bruce Bochy last night in a private ceremony. Just presented his ring to him in person. And that's something that's always done. The general manager, the manager, make sure if the player is not with the team, they'll travel around and present it to him the next time they see him, whether it's at home or on the road. But Cabrera got his World Series ring last night.
He told them in the offseason, hey, just whoa.
Melky is on fire. I tell you what, he's playing ping pong with Hunter Pence in right. Pence made 2 catches, and Melky hit one over his head. Everything he hits is a line drive.
This one right to his glove side, and that allowed Pence to make that play, but he's all over that fastball right there. He told the Giants, just ship me that World Series ring in the offseason, and the Giants said, no, we want to present it to you when we come to Toronto. I thought that was very classy.
Melky Cabrera has got to try somebody else. Hunter Pence has taken 2 hits away from him tonight. Jose Bautista's had 2 hits. His average up to 267. Bautista had a slow start last year. In the month of April a year ago, he had about 187. This year in April, he hit 200. But with 2 hits tonight, so far in May, he's hit 378, and he's driven in 10 runs. And we're just halfway through the month.
It's looking a lot like his start last year. A lot of balls to right field in April last season, and by his own admission, he was saying that he was not guiding the ball to right field, but was aware of how they were pitching him, and he was thinking about trying to hit the ball to right field. He's not that type of hitter. He'll hit it over the defense, not through it.
There are pitchers that would pay him to hit the ball to right field.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, it's coming as long as you hit it to right.
But in his quest to be, a more complete hitter, he had that on his mind, and finally said, I can't do that anymore.
And breaking ball gets him, and he is out for the first time tonight.
Save during the Lawn and Garden Expert Sale, only at Home Hardware and Home Hardware Building Center. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
Back here at Rogers Center, Edwin Encarnacion takes a first pitch strike. Edwin drove in a run in the 3rd with a sacrifice fly to center. And he's among the leaders in RBIs over the last 2 seasons. There's a line drive into center field. It's going to skip off the turf. Pagan one-hops it, and Encarnacion has his first hit of the night. We mentioned the RBI. That gives him 30 for the season and 140 over the last 2 years as you look at this base hit.
Another fastball right down the middle, and Pagan thought he had a chance at it. Now, I'm just guessing, and I bet you Angel Pagan can't wait to get off his turf. He makes a bid, does a good job of smothering that and keeping it in front of him this time.
Yeah, he'll be thrilled to get to Coors Field and play on that spacious outfield they have there. But to finish up the Encarnacion story, he has 140 RBIs over 2 seasons. Miguel Cabrera leads the pack in the American League with 180. Prince Fielder has 141. Then Encarnacion and Josh Hamilton are tied with 140. Pretty good company.
That's big time company right there. No Albert Pujols, huh?
No Albert Pujols.
Thought he might be up there.
He's getting paid at that rate, but he's not quite delivering. Billy Butler's right there too. 134 ribbies.
Quiet.
Yeah. Kansas City Royals DH has 134 RBIs over his last 2 seasons, going back to the start of 2012. Pujols isn't far off the pace. He's got 127.
That's the thing about RBIs. You got to get your teammates to get on board to help you out. And Edwin has delivered.
And Sevilla pulls another one foul.
Wearing out our camera well down there. 3 balls that he's hit over there.
Cardin's keeping the ball inside on him, and he continues to fight off anything close. It's an 0-2 count. You got to protect that plate. He waves that breaking ball. He strikes out. Quiros will throw to first and end the inning. So the Blue Jays are done in the 5th. We'll go to the 6th. It's a 10-1 Jays lead, and here comes the Home Hardware cleanup crew. Brought to you by Natura. Home Hardware's exclusive line of safe, environmentally friendly cleaning products.
Clubhouse. Yes, a private dinner in the clubhouse in the off season. Of course, a 3-course meal prepared by Barbarian Steakhouse. Yeah, they're pretty good stuff. Wine tasting included. You get jerseys for each guest and, of course, photo opportunities. So currently it's going at $2,500, so still a steal. Wow, and so is that hat. Where do I get one of those? So place your bid right now. Of course, the auction going on. 10 minutes until the last out of the 7th inning. All our operators are standing by right now. And you can also go online if you want to get one of those fan packs. Just $100 goes towards Jays Care Foundation. Buck, back to you.
Thank you, Ivanka. And that bid for the clubhouse dinner is pretty impressive. Barbarian Steakhouse, one of the best steakhouses in the country, and you get a chance to have a great meal catered by Barbarian inside the clubhouse. And Pat, you and I have had some great meals in the clubhouse over the years. I can think back to that Cleveland clubhouse, Bill Sheridan.
There it is.
Long-time clubby. You come in after the game and say, what do you got? Hockey pucks again tonight? Those hamburgers you used to serve. Yeah, I cooked them about the 3rd inning. They were cold about the 4th, and we ate them after the game.
How about the soggy hot dogs?
Oh, yeah.
The bologna sandwiches.
Things have changed dramatically since you and I last ate in the clubhouse, that's for sure.
5-star cooks now in the...
Yeah, they got menus and everything else. Guys go in there and order, what do you want for breakfast? Breakfast. Yeah. No, we didn't have anything like that. Sandoval strikes out, and Ramon Ortiz, that's his first strikeout of the night.
That is his first strikeout of the night, and he gets a pretty good hitter. He has been sinking his fastball. He's been throwing his slider on the outside part of the plate to the lefties, and he comes up big there. Very emotional when he's out there. Very animated. I think he's very happy to be back in the big leagues.
Well, he has really put in his time, and he swallowed his pride. He went back to the minor leagues. He knew that somewhere he might get another opportunity to pitch in the big leagues. Buster Posey fouls it off. But you got to admire his determination. Came into camp as a non-roster invitee of the Blue Jays. And now he's in line for his first win. Posey pops it up into shallow right field. Bautista moving over in the alley makes the catch. 2 down. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. There you see the charity broadcast auction crew manning the phones and anxious to take your calls and write down your bids for a group of terrific prizes, opportunities, trips. Of course, the broadcast experience is one that's pretty special in our hearts.
You will not be disappointed.
Not at all.
You will love it. Wait till you see the vantage point that we have here at the Rogers Center. You'll never want to sit in your seats again. How about that?
Sit next to Scott Carson, and he can give you all that great information he sends our way every night. He's the best. He's the king of all stats.
Just ask him.
Tells us every day. 2 outs. We're in the top of the 6th. Blue Jays with a 10-1 lead over the reigning world champs. Hunter Pence rips it into center field. He's 1 for 3 tonight. It's a 2-out single for Pence. It's the 6th giant hit of the night. But if you're going to purchase the broadcast bid, you got a chance to sit up here in the broadcast booth with us and Scott Carson, our fine stats person, and then you can go down in the truck. So with the producer and the director and all the great technical people down there that help us put this show on every single night.
Best seats in the house. You see everything. You can watch all the players, how they move around between batters. You can see plays develop when you sit up this high. Balls into the gap and you watch everybody's got their responsibility. That's a shot right there.
And there are the phone numbers to call to make a bid on that broadcast experience. Make sure you call in. The bidding will stop 10 minutes after the final out of the 7th inning. And remember, it's for a great cause, the Jays Care Foundation. Last year received the Commissioner's Award for the most outstanding organization in their charitable drives. And Bud Selig, the commissioner, presented Paul Beeston with that trophy representing a terrific season, and they were the best organization in baseball in their charity work.
In all of baseball. How about that? What an accomplishment by everyone.
Brandon Belt is 1 for 2. Choose your road trip. Current bid is $7,000. If I were picking a current road trip, I might take San Francisco. The only thing about the current road trip is if you're picking San Francisco, it's only 2 games.
Yeah.
So let's shoot for San Diego.
San Diego is not bad. I haven't been out there in years. I haven't seen that ballpark either, so I'm anxious to see that one.
What's wrong with you missing San Diego and San Francisco?
And Arizona. I haven't seen that duel.
We'll be there too. Belt drives this ball to left. Long run for Cabrera, and he gets there. Melky Cabrera has been running on some sore hamstring, but that was a determined run, and he takes extra bases away from Brandon Belt. Ortiz is through 6. Good defensive play in left by Cabrera. the MasterCard Memorial Cup, the London Knights and the Saskatoon Blades kick off things at 8 Eastern Time, only on Sportsnet. And we'll have all the MasterCard Memorial Cup action for you right here on Sportsnet. It all starts Friday night. Joaquin Arias takes over defensively at third base for Pablo Sandoval. He's out of the ball game. And Andres Torres takes over in right field for Hunter Pence. 2 defensive changes here in the bottom of the 6th. Adam Lind is 2 for 3. Boy, there's some averages that are starting to climb and look a little bit more normal. 289 for Lind.
Still early enough in the year where you have one nice little hot streak. You can get those numbers up.
Yeah, it doesn't take long to have your average go up or down. But right now, Lind is smoking hot. Got a 2-run home run in the first, had a sharp single to center in the 4th. Average is getting more respectable with every game. Blue Jays have scored 10 runs on 9 hits tonight. And then almost tossed the bat aside. Tom Hallion said that's a strike.
Blue Jays faced David Price, John Lester, Clay Buchholz. And ever since those 3, the offense has been hot.
Yep. They jumped on Ryan Dempster on Sunday. And then jumped all over Barry Zito last night in the first inning. They scored 6 runs on 6 hits against Zito in the first.
I've seen that happen before in games where you run into some really good pitchers and their stuff is just heads and shoulders above everybody else. Then you come back and face guys who aren't in that class and the ball looks huge.
Well, it's got to be dramatically different. Friday night, John Lester clearly threw a perfect game against him. One guy reached, it was a Maestro Sturris double, the only base runner. And then after that, everything else looks pedestrian.
Buchholz followed him up. It was pretty good, but the Blue Jays were able to beat him because of Mark Burley.
Looking ahead to the Yankees series, that'll start on Friday night. Mark Burley will go up against Hiroki Kuroda in the opener. And then a couple of day games, Brandon Morrow against David Phelps on Saturday. R.A. Dickey will go up against the left-hander C.C. Sabathia on Sunday. The Blue Jays got to feel pretty good about the way they're swinging the bats right now.
And they've got some payback for the Yankees.
They were swept in a 4-game series the last time they were in New York. 2-1. Laurie bounces it towards short. Arias cuts in front and gets the force out. That's all they can get. 1 out. Let's check in with Vanka.
Haven't you always wanted to know what happens behind the scenes? Well, you can find out. The broadcast experience currently going for $2,600 right now. Yeah, this is inside the truck of what's happening right now, the ball game. I swear, they're really nice people. They won't bite, right, guys? Well, unless you press the wrong button. But yeah, call the number on your screen and you can take part in that.
That is the front row of the truck. That's where the producer and director sit. And Doug Walton and Troy Clare do a great job for us every night. And you get in there and see what's going on. Colby Rasmus drives this a long way down the left field line, but that's going to slice out of play into the seats. So yeah, that broadcast experience, not only do you get to come up there and see where we are in the broadcast booth, but you get to go into the truck downstairs here at Rogers Center, and the digital trucks are really impressive in how quickly they can turn around replays. You can see the great tape room, all the guys that do such a great job down there.
You can watch the game from about 6 different angles, I think, if you want to. All the cameras, maybe even more.
Pat Tenardis is operating the tape room now, and he does a terrific job making sure we have all the replays we want. 2 balls and a strike to Colby Rasmus. He's been shut out so far. He was hit by a pitch in the first and then struck out and flied out. Clubhouse dinner, $4,500. That's for 10 people. That's a bargain right there, and you can have great steak dinner catered by barbarians. That's the opportunity to get inside that clubhouse. You also get a jersey with that. The Mark Burley pitching lesson is still a bargain. That's a fair ball off Brandon Belts down the right field line. Brett Laurie is coming around third. He's going to be waved home. Scudero bobbles it, and Laurie scores all the way from first. Colby Rasmus picks up another RBI. Rasmus credited with the double. His 6th double of the season. He's now driven in 17.
Looked like Godin took a little something off of his fastball to try and get Rasmus out in front, and he was. But Colby is able to keep that ball fair. Watch the off-speed pitch. Rips it down the right field line, and Brett Laurie reads it. There he goes. Off the glove of Belt down the right field line, and now you got to pick up the coach right here. Louis Rivera sends him home, and it's bobbled a little bit by the Giants once again. He is able to score.
Chad Godin is out of the ball game. Jose Mijares pitched in last night's game. He's back in tonight to face Bonifacio when we come back. Lefty Jose Mijares is into the ballgame. He pitched in the 8th inning last night. Gave up a double to Brett Laurie, and that's all that he allowed. 14th appearance of the season. Right-handers have worn him out so far.
Lefty's not so much at 280. His fastball's pretty straight. As Godin works 3 1/3 innings, and they'll probably get Mijares just to try and get through this inning, and then piece it together the rest of the way.
Bonifacio is 1 for 3 tonight. He had an RBI single in the first.
He is now starting to get some steady at bats, and I think that's why he is seeing the ball a little bit better and hitting the ball better. He was the odd man out for a while with the Blue Jays, but now they're going to give him time, and he's really responded.
Pulls that inside pitch into the Blue Jays dugout.
You see that rosin on top of his helmet right there. I asked him today, I said, Emilio, why do you always put rosin on your helmet? He says, I reach up there when I need some rosin, and I touch my helmet, and it gives me a little stickum on that bat. So it's like a traveling rosin bag on top of his helmet.
Well, we mentioned that batters are not allowed to go back to the on-deck circle to get the rosin bag or the pine tar, so he said, you know what, I'll take it with me.
just up on top of my helmet.
0-2, 1 out. He bounced foul. He stays alive. Bonifacio's average up to 202, and it's been a slow, steady climb for him. But you're right, he's now had hits in 4 of his last 5 games, and that rosin's going to build up if he continues to play as much as he's played lately.
Yeah, and they're going to play him. You know, they said they're going to get him some steady at bats. They've made a conscious effort to get him in the lineup as much as possible. He'll probably play some left field. Also, when Melky Cabrera has to DH it, he might find his way out there tonight. With a big lead like this, they might pull the cord on Cabrera just to give his legs some rest.
Well, Bonifacio strikes out. Mijares gets the first man he faced, and not only has Melky Cabrera been plagued by hamstring problems, he was on base 5 times last night, twice more tonight. He's running the bases a lot lately.
Yeah, scoring a lot, scoring from second base on base hits. He's also battling a little bit of a quad irritation also, the hamstrings and the quad, so that's some soreness that he's been dealing with.
The shortstop, Uninori Kawasaki, goes after that first pitch. Broadcast experience, $2,700. That's a bargain. Make sure you get in. The auction stops 10 minutes after the final out of the 7th inning. As far as that San Francisco trip goes, Bruce Bochy gave me some good recommendations for restaurants. So when you go to San Francisco, I'll drop them on you as well.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. I went right to the source. Bruce has been out there a long time, and he knows all the different restaurants. He says, what kind of food do you want?
Yeah. There you go.
0-2, 2 outs. Kawasaki, did he check? Phil Cuzzy said he went around. That's strike 3, and the inning is over. So we'll head to the 7th inning. Blue Jays with a 10-1 lead. Ramon Ortiz back to the mound. How your legs feel? I said, well, you know what? They're hurting a little bit, but they have made the change. Maestro Asturias will hit in the leadoff spot. Bonifacio will go from second to left field, take over defensively for Melky Cabrera. There's Emilio out in left field. He started in left field in last night's game. And Maestro Asturias will take over at second base. So Cabrera will have the rest of the night off.
You have to pick and choose your spots right here. With the off day tomorrow, it's a good move. Get Cabrera off of his legs that are bothering him. And I think he'll be battling that for a little bit while longer. That injury.
The only way you can get over that is just take time off and not play. And he's not going to do that right now. The way he's swinging the bat. Ramon Ortiz pitching into the 7th inning. has held the Giants to 1 run on 6 hits. And here he issues the leadoff walk. Gregor Blanco will take the walk, and John Gibbons will get on the phone. That's the first walk that Ortiz has issued here tonight. Done a good job.
Yep. He's thrown a lot of strikes. Just one strikeout. He's made him put the ball in play. Let's see if he can get through 7 innings right here. That would really help out that bullpen.
Throw it over. Maybe somebody hit into a double play. Guillermo Quiros has hit into a double play. He's also doubled. Hit a ball at the base of the wall in right field over Bautista's head. Quiros making just his 5th start of the season behind the plate. This is popped up and playable. Aaron Sebia off with the mask. He's back and makes the catch. 1 down. Ramon Ortiz is very emotional, and we have seen that in both of his starts. You can see after he gets out of the inning earlier in the ball game. That was the play that Rasmus made in center field, and he is excitable.
And he's not taking anything for granted. He's loved what he's doing. And, you know, the Blue Jays have openings next Monday and Tuesday for starters. And this is like an open tryout, I think, for Chad Jenkins and Ramon Ortiz. If they pitch well like he is, he's going to get another start probably on Monday.
Brandon Crawford, the shortstop.
Chad Jenkins is actually going into the bullpen until his next start. There he is out there in the bullpen. And he'll be out there on Friday in the Yankee series just in case they need him. And if they don't use him, he'll get his throwing in and then probably make one of those starts either Monday or Tuesday.
Chad Jenkins picked up his first win of the season. He went 5 innings plus 2 batters on Sunday in Boston. And he threw strikes just like Ortiz is doing tonight. There's a bouncing ball. Isturis to Kawasaki back to first, not in time.
Save during the Lawn and Garden Expert Sale, only at Home Hardware and Home Hardware Building Center. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
Ramon Ortiz has had 1 double play turned behind him tonight. He was anticipating a second, and not yet.
Back to work.
He's fun to watch.
Yeah.
Tell you what, he grew up as a fan of Pedro Martinez. He idolized Martinez, and they both came from the Dominican Republic, and he actually had a chance to beat Pedro Martinez in a ball game. And one of his great memories, August 8th, 2000, he beat Pedro Martinez.
Nothing like beating your idol, right?
There's a drive to center field. Rasmus jogs back, makes an easy play of it. Ramon Ortiz, 7 innings against the reigning world champ San Francisco Giants. Blue Jays up 11-1.
can bid on. But I do have to remind you what the money is all going towards in support of Jace Care Foundation that goes to enriching kids in need's lives, excelling academically. Great stuff. Looking over at some of the items, just seeing what they're going for. Still plenty of time, but what are you waiting for? Call the number on your screen. Buck?
Thank you, Ivanka. And you're right. A great cause, the Jace Care Foundation, who raise money, and they do so many great things with it. Make sure you check in just 10 minutes after the half inning, and the bidding will close. So make sure you dial up those numbers, make a bid, and make a contribution to a great cause. Brett Pill comes off the bench to take over defensively at first base. Meiser Asturias with his first at bat, entering the ball game as the defensive replacement. Batting in, Melky Cabrera's spot, top of the order. Bounces this foul outside of first. Another foul back. Ball game started off on a shaky note for the Blue Jays. They gave up a run to the Giants in the first. The Giants had a 17-5 record when they scored first. Sharply hit, backhanded by Crawford. Asturias is on. Coming in this ball game, the Giants, we mentioned that great record when they scored first. Ryan Vogelsong was really let down by his defense. He gave up 5 runs in the first inning, but they were all unearned. Second baseman Marco Scudero dropped the pop-up, and Angel Pagan, the center fielder, dropped the line drive, and that led to 5 Blue Jay runs.
2 nights in a row that the defense by the Giants in the first inning. It's cost them 8 unearned runs in those 2 innings. Just those 2 innings.
And it just really digs yourself such a deep hole. And now the Blue Jays are swinging the bats like you thought they would all year.
You know, that's what was happening to the Blue Jays early in the year. One play or misplay was costing them multiple runs. I remember talking to John Gibbons about that, and he's like, gosh, you know, we make an error in the field and it doesn't cost us 1, it's costing us 4 and 5 runs. And it seemed like it was night after night after night that was happening.
Yeah, the defense was really porous in April. And the pitchers, they were hurt by it, obviously. They fell behind early. Hitters weren't hitting, so they couldn't make up for that deficit. But it's a different story now. Blue Jays are in line for their 4th straight win.
You know, and the pitchers weren't pitching well enough to cover up the mistakes that they were making defensively. You know, how many times in baseball have you heard it said, you know, pick up your teammate right here. A guy boots it and the pitcher picks him up and strikes out the side, and no harm, no foul. That wasn't happening early on.
There's his strike. Ramon Ortiz, 7 innings of work tonight. Mickey Story is starting to loosen up, and it looks like he's probably going to come into the game. This is the first time Ramon Ortiz has pitched 7 innings since April 22nd, 2007. Off-speed pitch, and Bautista strikes out.
2007. Good for him. The offense did their job. They got out to a big start, and the pitches, they weren't as stressful. There's Ortiz coming off the last inning. John Gibbons there to meet him. Tell him heck of a job, and he'll probably get the start now on Monday when the Blue Jays get back home.
Now, Blue Jays obviously looking for anybody to give them some consistency in the rotation. Brandon Morrow will go on Saturday. This was supposed to be his start, but he wasn't able to go because of a stiff neck.
You know, it's literally day to day for the Blue Jays when it comes to the pitching. We had that shot of Chad Jenkins out in the bullpen. He was on call tonight in case Ortiz got knocked out early. He'll also throw tonight because today's his throw day. They were protecting him a little bit So he'll stick around after the game, and he'll throw his side session tonight after the game, and then they'll be able to use him on Friday if they need him. And then if not, he'll probably fall right in line to start Tuesday.
There's a drive towards center. That's going to hang up for Pagan, and the inning is over. The end of the 7th. Blue Jays have an 11-1 lead. You have 10 minutes left to make a bid on the Jays broadcast auction. Make sure you make a phone call. Great cause, Mickey Story into the ball game to pitch the 8th.
It's till the end of the Sportsnet Charity Broadcast Auction. You got to call in. This is where it gets crazy. We are erasing numbers because people are calling in for their bids, but you still have time. Less than 8 minutes, though. So call the number on your screen. We have these lovely ladies and operators waiting by to take your call. Fantastic items. You don't want to miss out on that opportunity. And there's still about 100 fan packs left. Those are on $100, and they go towards the Jays Care Foundation. Buck?
Thank you, Ivanka. Make sure you call in. We only have about 6.5 minutes left, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do as you see Mickey's story. His second game. I will add dinner with Pat and I after the game when you bid on the broadcast auction. And it'll be my favorite place to go in town. It'll be a good place. And I can promise you, you will enjoy dinner. Pat and I will go to dinner on me if you buy that broadcast auction package. So make sure you call right away. You don't have much time.
On us. How's that?
That's good. Broadcast experience includes dinner with Pat and I after the ball game.
Is Scott coming with us?
Scott can come with us, of course. He's part of the team. So make sure you call. You only got 6 minutes and 40 seconds. Not only do you get to come to the broadcast booth, go to the truck, meet the great production team downstairs, but afterwards we'll go talk about it.
We could talk Jays all night at dinner.
All night long.
Be fun.
Three and 1 to Marco Scudero. He's got a hit streak on the line. 13 straight so far. He is 0 for 2 with a sacrifice, and he'll take a walk. Mark Braley's pitching experience is at $3,500, so make sure you call in. Maybe Braley wants to join us for dinner. Mickey Story in his first inning of work, and how about the effort by Ramon Ortiz? 7 innings, allowed just 1 run. Joaquin Arias batting for the first time. He took over defensively for Pablo Sandoval. San Francisco trips up to $5,000. if you go on that San Francisco trip, you can take Pat and I to dinner.
You do both of them, right?
Good job, 3,500.
Come on, keep it going. You got 5 minutes.
We tell good stories.
Oh.
On the ground. Kawasaki is short to second, wide of the mark. Scudero goes to third. Kawasaki, a desperation throw to second, will be charged with the error. Infield hit and an error. Ramon Ortiz, in his second start of the season, goes 7 innings, holds the Giants to 6 hits, 1 earned run. He walked the batter, struck out 1, and threw 100 pitches. He's in line for the win.
See what happens when you make pitches, when you can command your fastball and your breaking ball, you keep it out of the middle of the plate. Good things happen. You go 6 innings against the world champions.
And they're a good hitting ball club.
Second in the National League coming into this game.
This will be his first win since September 11, 2011. When he was pitching with the Cubs, he beat the Mets. And he won that game in relief. There's a drive toward the wall in left center. Buster Posey has just put a charge in it. 1 run is in to score. Scudero's coming in. They're stopping Arias at third. Buster Posey, an RBI double. Colby Rasmus, $4,500 for hitting lessons with Colby Rasmus, and a very entertaining guy. He's got an awful lot of talent. And a chance to talk with him. Sure, he'll pass along some of the tips that he has picked up from Chad Mottola. 3 minutes and 24 seconds left in the Blue Jays broadcast auction, so make sure you dial in. Let's really boost those numbers up. Andres Torres not sure where that ball went. That's almost a fair ball. He didn't see it off the bat. He stood at home plate not knowing where the ball went.
Look how close this ball lands down the left field line, just a couple of feet. I've done that before. You swing at a pitch and you think it's fouled straight back, and it ends up being a little bit closer to the playing field.
Torres came into the game last night as a defensive replacement in the 7th. He walked and scored in the 9th.
Got to start getting some outs right here. The runners on base mean nothing. So you're playing outs right here. Mickey Story off to a little bit of a rough start here in the 8th inning.
Torres swings right through that pitch. It's 2-2. Grounds crew for a day. The current bid is $2,900. Let's get that over $3,000. The end of the auction just a minute 30 seconds away, so get on the phones, make your bids. And a breaking ball, and Torres strikes out. Let's check in with Ivanka.
All right, we're working furiously here, updating as we wine dine in the time. I can't even say that. How about being a Junior J for a day? This one right now is going for $2,900 and includes taking in batting practice, going to the game, and joining in the Junior J Saturday festivities. It's always a good time, and it's great for the little one in your family.
Great opportunity to come out and enjoy Junior J's Saturday. Brett Pill batting for the first time, and he came into the ball game defensively at first base.
Put up some big numbers down in AAA.
Those numbers were just 32 games in AAA. Drove in 47 runs in 32 games. comes off the end of the bat.
Tell you what, he's not going to get a fastball for a strike. Not when there's a couple of runners out there.
The end of the auction winding down. Just under 10 seconds. Last minute call. Dial it before you see that clock tick down to 0. 4,500 on the broadcast experience. Bill pulls it into the seats. Well, the end of the auction has taken place, and certainly we want to get a total before too long, but Ivanka, I'm sure, is going to take care of that. We'll hear from her for the rest of the night. But thank you so much for all your contributions and all the great effort in making those bids and staying involved. Red Pill hits it into center field. Arias goes back to third to tag up. Rasmus makes the catch. Here comes Arias home to score. And the Giants have scored 2 here in the 8th. Sac fly for Pill.
Another RBI. 47 leading the Pacific Coast League. There's number 1 on the season.
Mickey Story in relief of Ramon Ortiz. Gregor Blanco. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. Sharply hit. Izturis dives and pops to his feet in time to throw out Blanco. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. It's all Blue Jays, 11-3 now. It's time for a Blue Jays Central Update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn in the Blackberry Broadcast Studio. Honda is the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Well, it's got to go to J.P. Arancibia, who's going to hit his 10th home run of the season, a long drive to left field. This breaks a tie with Pat Borders in Blue Jay history for the most home runs. He's now 3rd on that list for home runs by a catcher in Blue Jay history. That was number 52 for J.P. Arancibia, behind Darren Fletcher now. So JP with another big night.
JP hit a hard ball in the first inning that was dropped by the center fielder, and that kind of opened up the floodgates. New pitcher for the Giants, Javier Lopez, a veteran lefty, in for his 18th game of the season.
Getting some work now is the left-hander. He's a left-on-left guy, basically, for Bruce Bochy's bullpen. Throws sidearm slot fastball, 86, 91 miles an hour. He can sink it. He will throw a changeup to the right-handers.
And Sebia, 10 home runs, 20 RBIs. Blue Jays, double-digit hits again tonight. 11 runs on 10 hits. Last night they scored 10 runs on 18 hits, a season high 18 hits.
You know, whenever you see that, where you have more runs than hits, two factors, errors and walks. Tonight there have been 5 walks to Blue Jay batters and a couple of errors.
Bouncing ball through the left side into left field. Aaron Sebia has his second hit of the night. Great baseball action right here on Sportsnet tomorrow afternoon. It starts at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It's the New York Mets in St. Louis to take on the Cardinals. The high-flying St. Louis Cardinals, 2.5 games ahead of the Cincinnati Reds in the NL Central. New York Mets and the St. Louis Cardinals right here on Sportsnet.
Adam Wainwright is going in that game for the Cardinals. He almost had a no-no last time.
Cardinals are getting some great pitching. Adam Lynn, look at his batting average. 289. Or wouldn't that be something if he could recapture the form he had in 2009? When he was the Silver Slugger at the DH spot in the American League. Hit over 300.
Yeah, good average, good power, and good production. But he's seeing the ball. You can just tell the way he is seeing that ball out of that pitcher's hand.
You know what's interesting? This is his 5th at bat against lefty pitching. I'm going to have to
for the season.
Yeah,
for the season.
Give him more at bats, and he hits that one off the pitcher. Brandon Crawford barehands it. What a play! Oh my! What a play by the shortstop, Brandon Crawford. And he didn't play like it's 11-3. That ball was hit off the pitcher. He was going towards second, thinking the ball was going to be up the middle, had to change directions.
Yeah, watch him at shortstop. Going hard and plants, he's got to come in. His only play is to barehand it and throw on the run. And told you yesterday in that first game, he possesses a very strong arm. Yeah, a good play on the other end also by Pill to record the out.
Brett Laurie hits it right to Crawford. And he is out. It's the first time Laurie hasn't reached base tonight. Brett will finish up his night 1 for 3. Now Colby Rasmus, he had an RBI double his last time up. Numbers are starting to look a little more respectable up and down the lineup.
Getting hot at the right time. Blue Jays will go to Yankee Stadium for 3 games against New York, and then Tampa, Baltimore, Atlanta, back here at Rogers Center next homestand. So a chance to make some noise in the American League East.
Well, they got to keep their eye on each series. Can't get overwhelmed by the deficit. Rasmus takes his strike right on the inside corner. It's 1-1. I think they're going about it the right way. You haven't heard too much about it. They just go about their business. And now they're looking at a 4-game win streak. First time they've won 4 straight games this year. Rasmus pulls it to Pill. He waves off the pitcher, and the inning is over. We'll go to the 9th. A reminder, Ivanka Osmak will join us when we come back to give us the broadcast auction totals.
A target of $143,000 in support of Jays Care Foundation. Blew that out of the water. Check this out. $172,000, 960, almost 30 grand more than what we were hoping for. And there's still some fan packs left. You can go online and get that if you want. So thank you, everyone, for your support, for calling in and making some bids. And congratulations to all the winners, especially this Mitchell guy who will be having the broadcast experience. $5,000 for that one. Buck, Pat, I hope you guys are going to get them a good dinner.
You bet we are, Ivanka. You know that. That's how we roll. Good broadcast. Come to the truck. Meet all the people, and then afterwards we'll go talk about the Blue Jays and the great experience. Thank you so much, everybody, for making those terrific bids, and what a night. $172,000 raised for the great cause, the Jays Care Foundation. Ivanka, great job by you. Ivanka Osmak doing a terrific job all night long. Guillermo Quiros takes one upstairs.
That's awesome. 172 grand.
Yeah, good job.
Thank you, everybody, for your generosity. We're going to have a lot of fun in that broadcast experience.
Mickey Story trying to wrap things up. Story came into the game in the 8th inning. He gave up 2 runs on a couple of hits and a sac fly. Breaking ball, strike 3. Got the inside corner. Now it's time for a preview of what's coming up on Connected. Here's Ken Reed and Rob Falls. One down in the 9th. Blue Jays trying to wrap up a 2-game sweep of the San Francisco Giants. Brandon Crawford, he's had no fun here at Rogers Center. He is 0 for 7. He struck out 4 times last night. He's 0 for 3 tonight. These two teams will meet in a 2-game series in San Francisco, June 4th and 5th, out on the West Coast. Be part of a Blue Jays trip that takes them through Atlanta, San Diego, and finishes up in San Francisco. So we'll see Bruce Bochy and his club again in June.
2 in Atlanta, 3 in San Diego, and then 2 more in San Francisco to finish that up. Off day in San Francisco. Speaking of off days, off day for the Blue Jays tomorrow. And you know John Gibbons doesn't like that, the way his club's playing.
Brandon Crawford finally gets a hit, opposite field single. And snaps his over here at Rogers Center. Giants will go into Colorado to play 4 against the Rockies, and then they'll go home for a 3-game set against Washington, and then the Rockies will come right back to San Francisco. So they've got a tough little stretch in their schedule. Came into action tonight. The Giants had a 1.5 lead over Arizona. Colorado is 2 back. Bruce Bochy, what a job he has done as a manager. His 19th season managing in the major leagues. Andrew Pagan's had a big night. He's 3 for 4. He lined out his 4th at bat. He has a pair of doubles and a single. He'd been scuffling of late, 10 for his previous 53 before having a 3-hit night tonight.
A lot of good numbers by the Giants, hitting with runners in scoring position. They're not hitting the home runs like they've hit in the past. They're going to have to bunch hits together, come up with some clutch hits, stay in first place. I think their pitching is going to be fine.
Barry Zito and Ryan Vogelsong got roughed up, but the defense really created some problems for them.
I was talking to Mike Krukow and Dwayne Kuiper, who do the TV for these guys, yesterday. They were raving about Madison Bumgarner, saying that this guy's got Cy Young potential for this season for the Giants, and maybe we'll run into him in that 2-game series in San Francisco.
I hope not.
I want to see him pitch.
He's off to a great start in his young career. There's a fly ball to center. Rasmus coasting back in front of the warning track, and Pagan is retired. Giants are down to their final out. Bumgarner went 16-11 last year with the Giants, and then won a game in the World Series. He has 2 World Series wins going back to 2010. He picked up a win against Texas as well.
4-1 this year with an ERA just over 2. So Marco Scudero gets a chance
to extend his hit streak, and sure enough, he does. That looper into right, that extends his hit streak to 14 games, but it's been the defense that has created problems for San Francisco.
First batter of the first game, that was Sandoval with the error, then Pagan. That led to 3 unearned runs, and then Marco Scudero in the first inning, and Pagan once again on the ball to center field. That led in 5 unearned runs, so 8 unearned runs in the first 2 innings of this series. Tough to climb out of that hole.
Joaquin Arias waves at that breaking pitch. Arias had an infield single in his only at bat back in the 8th. He scored 1 of 2 runs the Giants tallied in the 8th. Another wild swing, and he's in the hole 0-2.
There's runners on base. You're not going to get a fastball. Trying to finish this one off.
Down and away. Crowd on their feet anticipating the final out of this game. 64,000 plus in attendance for the 2 games against San Francisco. Great turnout here at Rogers Center. Mickey Story trying to wrap it up. Cut on and miss ball game. The Blue Jays sweep the mini-series from San Francisco. Adam Lind with a big 2-run home run in the first. J.P. Arencibia had a 2-run home run in the second. And the top of the order done damage again. Blue Jays will be off tomorrow. We'll see you Friday night from New York. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Connected coming right up.